Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show today. I am Miss Jerry, and this is Navigating the Future of Trucking and Transportation. Things are changing, and in today's show, I got a lot of information. We're going to be talking about. I have a news article that I want to share with a couple of news articles that I want to share with you with some new things. But before we get started, I want to share a story with you. And it's a story about my great grandpa McCray. That's what we called it. And well, not me. And if your family is like my family, tap in and let me know. But we heard stories. We heard stories. My dad told me stories all the time about my grandparents, my great grandparents, and things that they did. And I take those same stories and I share them with my sons. But this story, it really for me, it highlights the importance of adaptability, right? The importance of being adaptable in your time, whatever that time period is. And so this time period was back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and it was in East Texas. And so my great grandfather, he owned over 80 acres. 80 acres of land. It was right on the Nature's River. And when I say 80 acres, that 80 acres is still in our family today. But it was right on the Nature's River. If you know where Dam B is, I think it's also called Steinhagen Lake or something like that. But we had land right out there in that area. Have land still. It's not worked like Grandpa worked it. And you don't hear me call him Grandpa because that's what my daddy called him. I never met the man, but he was a great man because I heard so many things about him. But he worked this land and he grew tobacco. Okay, and he raised cattle to support my five great aunties and their two boys as well, my two great uncles, and I knew them. I knew most of them, and grew up going out on that land and seeing them because the girls then, in turn, as they grew up, lived on that land. But life wasn't easy back in the 1800s, early 1900s. It was struggle, and so he had to make, sell products to make to keep a roof over his kids' head and to take care of the family. And during harvest time throughout the year for the harvesting the tobacco and harvesting the vegetables and the cattle, that he sold, he had to go down to the dock. And the dock was right there on the Natchez, and there was an old river tugboat. And so this tugboat would come by and would pick up him and his tobacco and any other goods that he had. And he would take his products on that tugboat down the Natchez River. And so down the Natchez River, they would go to Beaumont, Texas. If you're familiar with East Texas, you know the Natchez, that river and how it runs. And it took days, like it would take days for him to get his products and stuff like that. And I'm sure he had to deal with rough weather. I'm sure he had to deal with, look, back home, and even now, we still have alligators up and down that river. But he knew he had to do it, of course, for his family. And then one day, trucks came on the scene. And this is how I know because my dad told me that my grandpa was a truck driver. Trucks came on the scene and he ended up getting a truck. Later on, he got a truck. And instead of using the tugboat, instead of using those horses, he had to teach himself how to learn and drive that truck. But that, 2 to 3 day trip going down the Nature's River turned into, maybe one day, maybe a there and a back type thing. But it really streamlined and increased, like helped the process to help get his products to market faster. Again, he had to teach himself how to drive that truck and understand all the bells and whistles that came with it. But it made a big difference. It made a big difference in how he was able to grow, how he was able to take care of the farm, how he was able to better provide for his family. And like I said, that land is still in our family today. And I'm so grateful for my dad and my uncles for sharing like those types of stories with us because it shows resilience. It shows willingness to learn and willingness to like do new things and try new things. And that same push for greatness, it's in me. I instill it in my boys. I share these stories with my kids so that they know what they're made of. They know where they came from. And so my great grandpa's story is a lesson for all of us because he could have stuck, in the old ways of using the horse and using that old river tugboat to get back and forth to Beaumont to sell his tobacco and sell his cattle. But he changed with the times. He adapted, he adjusted. And so what I tell my sons, whether it's automation coming into my boy's warehouse where he works at, whether it's autonomous trucks coming into the trucking industry where my other son, my next to oldest son, is a current driver, or whether it's new software or new tech coming into the aviation industry where my other boys are at. It's all about staying flexible. It's all about adapting. It's all about being willing to learn. And so those things, those skills, that's the key to staying ahead. That's the key to being different from everybody else. That's the key to, you know, elevating. Because I told y'all yesterday it's elevation season. It is time to elevate. And so I encourage you to be like my great grandpa. Be ready to embrace new things. Be ready to learn new skills. Don't be afraid of change because change is the only constant that we know. And so when you are open to new ideas and willing to learn new skills, you're adaptable. And being adaptable is what's going to help you succeed and move forward in your career. That is the key. And so I just want to ensure that you are staying adaptable. And I want to thank you for listening to my story about my grandpa, because, and if you missed it, make sure you tap in and let me know you're listening to it on the replay, because I'm so proud of the legacy that my family has left. And I am continuing on that legacy and leaving it for my sons, for my daughter. And if you're new here, welcome. Do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you are tapped in across all of my platforms, whether it is TikTok. Hello to my TikTok family. Hello to everybody on TikTok. I have them, they get the behind the scenes, they get to see me drinking water in between the breaks and things like that. And so I just want to say hello, everybody, to everybody on TikTok: Frenchie, Lakeisha, Monica, Shante, look, John, hello, everybody. Tony, thanks so much for being there. I appreciate you. We have an action-packed show. I'm here every single Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm a little bit late today, but I'm live and I'm here. And I just thank you for being here as well. On the show, every show, I talk about automation, autonomy, and new technology entering our industry. I share either a traditional truck driving job or a job in the autonomous sector. An autonomous sector where you can take your current skills and combine them with new skills that you learn and become a game changer for someone's company. And then lastly, on the learning lane, I share actionable tips that you can use right now to help you upskill and reskill and prepare for the new changes, the new industry that we're moving into. So again, welcome. Today's show, like I said, it is action packed. Right after the break, I'm going to come right back. I'm going to tell you about Cruise. Cruise is a self-driving vehicle technology company, and they're relaunching. And so I'm going to talk about their relaunch. I'm going to share a partnership between Kodiak and a trucking company that they are now partnering with. And I'll tell you who Kodiak is here during that segment as well. And then I will wrap it up with the learning lane. The learning lane, we're going to talk. Yesterday, we talked about truck driver recruitment and things that you need to be looking for when you're looking for a recruiter. But we're also going to be talking today about the application process and how important that is when looking for a new truck driving job. So, in just a moment, I'll be back, and thanks for joining.
I'm Jerri Banks. Our agency focuses on driver recruitment and driver education. We focus on helping drivers and preparing them for the future of trucking and transportation as autonomous vehicles and automation enters the industry. Our goal is to ensure that you are equipped with the skills that you need to be successful in this new way of life. So make sure you connect with me across all of my platforms. Jerri Banks, Autonomous Trucking. I look forward to connecting with you.
All right, we are back. We are back. Thank you so much for being here. Again, if you are not currently subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you are connected with me across all of my social media platforms. Now, this article is brought to us by Houston Public Media. Houston Public Media. And the article title is Cruise Relaunches Self Driving Vehicle Fleet in Houston, Texas, amidst federal investigation. So they're still being investigated, but they are relaunching their vehicle fleet, their self driving vehicle fleet. And there it is. That's the cruise. I'm going to share my screen as well. That way you can, I'm going to show you the article here in just a second. All right, because I just want you to see briefly the actual article. Again, this is from the Houston Public Media outfit, and it's about Cruise. Cruise is a self-driving technology company. And basically, they are relaunching um, of testing with human drivers, and so they're going to have human drivers in them. Cruise, they use a General Motors self-driving car, and they're restarting the testing of this autonomous vehicle in Houston. Now, it's unlike before. The vehicles will initially have human drivers behind the wheel, and these drivers will be tasked with collecting data, mapping the roads, and just doing the testing, more testing, because Cruise had some challenges. I think it was last year. So, and the article kind of talks about it. We'll make sure the article is linked to the link to the description box here. But the NHTSA is still investigating Cruise's self-driving cars after reports of pedestrian injuries last year. But the investigation includes incidents where the vehicles allegedly caused injuries and traffic disruptions. Now, Cruise is one we're talking about. I won't even say them in the same sentence of the other company, but yesterday we highlighted Waymo. And I've actually driven in a Waymo, ridden in a Waymo self-driving car. It's like an Uber, but nobody's driving. And Waymo was they haven't had any issues as far as I've seen. Cruise, I know, is the one that's having seems to be having quite a few issues, but they're doing some testing, they're doing some changes, and they claim to have implemented improvements based on expert reviews following some of the malfunctions that they reported last year. And they're aiming to enhance their safety standards, their processes, and their systems to ensure a safer operation. Now, General Motors, GM, is investing an additional $850 million in Cruise to support its ongoing development of this self-driving car technology. So, whether you like it or not, someone sees the value of it, and someone sees enough money, sees the willingness to put money behind this is going to happen. So again, I share this information with you to let you know that it's not a, you know, if it might happen or I think it may happen. No, it's literally happening. And it's a matter of GM backing this company with $850 million to support the development of this self-driving technology. It just shows that their commitment, they have a continuing commitment to get this done, to see this forward. And so it's a phased testing approach, and they're testing it in Houston, Texas, and it's a two-phase approach. The first phase is going to be where somebody is in the car collecting data, right? They're in the car collecting data. So it will be a human in the car collecting the data. And then the second phase, which will be implemented down the line, it'll be supervised autonomous driving. So somebody will probably still be in the car, but they won't be holding the steering wheel. It'll be supervised autonomous driving. So it is a matter of it coming. It's not a matter of when, it's a matter of it's here, they're testing it, they're doing it. And so this is just a you need to know, you need to know about. Now, the next article that I want to share, this is an article, it's a partnership, and this partnership is actually with a company that I've talked quite a bit about on the show. And it's a partnership between um, Arthur Express and Kodiak. Kodiak is the actual name of the company. Kodiak is a self-driving semi-truck software development company. Basically, they create self-driving technology that can be um, added into essentially semi trucks, as well as they have a partnership with the Department of Defense. And so they are building their partnerships. They also have partnerships with Flying J. They have a truck port in Villarica, Georgia, and that partnership is with Flying J. So these autonomous vehicle developers are establishing a footprint across the US with partnerships with trucking companies. You may be working for a trucking company and may not even know that your company is partnered with a self-driving tech company. Now, will we see self-driving trucks, you know, um, a light switch flip on and all of a sudden all these self-driving trucks are out on the roadways? No, that won't be the case. However, we're definitely going to see more and more of them entered into the industry. Now we're going to see it in the South. We're not going to see it in mountains and in heavy snow areas, and we won't see it on flatbed and hazmat and specialized loads and all of those things. No, but we will see it. We will see it definitely. And so it's important that you know who the key players are. You know what you need to be doing to prepare. And those things are building up your skills. Skills like communication, skills like um, problem solving. You got to be able to show examples. I always like to share this right here, and it's desired skills for the future of trucking. Those skills are teamwork, communication, building up your customer service, problem solving. Because keep in mind that if the truck's doing more of the driving, what are you doing? Ask yourself, what is it that you're doing if the truck is doing more of the driving by itself? If the automation in the warehouse is doing more of the moving the things around, the forklift driving, the inventory picking and things like that, what are you doing? What is your role? And so your role then in turn becomes more human centric, less labor, more human centric. And so that is your customer service. That is your being able to take care of the customer, being able to manage and take care of the truck. Those types of things are going to be more and more crucial as we see these trucks, autonomy, automation, more AI enter into the industry. And so I'd like to share these types of things. And so this article, um, again, Arthur Express is the partnership between Kodiak and Arthur Express. It's a new partnership, but Arthur Express is committed to being the truckers company. Working with them, Kodiak is using the latest technology, the latest transportation tech to increase home time and improve safety for truck drivers. That's the thing. That is that is how all autonomous trucks are being marketed. Two things: safety, improving safety. The second thing is increasing your home time. Increasing your home time, getting you more home, getting you home more with your family. And it says our partnership also shows that autonomous trucks can benefit large and mid-sized fleets alike. So your company is doing a partnership with the autonomous software developers. Again, it's not going to be a light switch. It's not going to be something that happens overnight. However, my question to you is, what are you doing? Not what your company, if you work for Arthur Express or any of these other companies that's partnering with autonomous software developers, it's not their job to develop you. I mean, it is, but it also should be your stance to say, what do I need to be doing right now to get ready? What do I need to be doing so that when my company, Arthur Express, fully incorporates some of these autonomous trucks on the roadways, how do I get to be their number one person for this incorporation? How do I get to be in a position where I can help with this transition? How do I get to be the change leader that is driving the change that is happening in our industry? Those are all key things that you should be asking yourself so that you're not left behind. Because somebody gonna get left behind. I'm just gonna be real honest. It's the people that's gonna be left behind, but it's the people that aren't ready. It's the people don't don't see what is here. It's the people that are not taking it seriously. It's so many out there that, spend their time scrolling TikTok and looking at foolishness. Those are the people that's going to be left behind. Now, you can be on that bus or you can get on this bus, because this bus is leaving the station. This bus is the bus that's preparing you and propelling you to greatness, to get ready for what is to come. So implore you, I implore you to ensure that you are seeking out ways, seeking out opportunities to elevate yourself, seeking out opportunities to work on your customer service, to work on your communication. I had a driver on the show just last week, Mac the Mother Trucker, and we were going back and forth and we were talking about how just being a good communicator, just being a good communicator and knowing how to communicate in professional settings and professional environments can set you apart, can take you to an entirely new level in any industry, not just in transportation, in any industry. How you carry yourself, your presentation, all of those things will set you apart. Now, when we come back, because I think it's so important for you to see how and what positions there are out there in the autonomous sector, but also what are some of the skills that these companies are looking for in a driver or in an individual that may be able to work in an autonomous vehicle setting. I'll be right back.
When it comes to autonomous trucks entering the trucking and transportation industry, up until now, you've only heard bits and pieces, news here, news there. There's been no centralized place for you to learn about autonomous trucks. Join me every Wednesday and Thursday and Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time as I share information, news, and education on how you can stay prepared for autonomous trucks and autonomy entering the trucking and transportation industry.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. We're going to get right into the next segment. Typically, I share a traditional truck driving job. And when I say traditional, because you're going to hear me say traditional, and then you're going to hear me say a future of trucking opportunity. And so this is a future of trucking. Not that it's like in the future, but it's right now. It's a right now. This position is open, and I'm going to talk about it. But not only am I going to talk about it, I'm going to talk about what the required skills are, because there are a set of required skills. And just like in as a truck driver, and you're going to go get a job right now, your required skills are your MBR, having a good MBR, your PSP, they're going to run that report, they're going to run your DAC report. You need a certain amount of experience. Those are required. Okay, those are required. But what you're not used to when looking for a truck driving job is the desirable skills. Currently, as a trucker, if you hit all the boxes, you check all the boxes, um, and meet all the requirements of the that company's hiring guidelines or that company's insurance standards, you got a job. You've got a job. Well, what we're gonna see is a shift. And in that shift, we're going to see a set of desirable skills start coming and floating to the top. And so I want to share this position with you. It's a truck operations specialist. And for my folks over on TikTok, I'll share my screen with you as well so you can see. But this truck operations specialist position, this is with Aurora Innovation. And Aurora, um, they are they are a company that is delivering self-driving technology. Their tagline is they're delivering it safely, quickly, and broadly to make the transportation industry safer, increasingly accessible, and more reliable and efficient than ever before. They have what they call the Aurora Driver. It's a self driving system. And so they take that system and they put that system inside of, they do it for cars, they do it for semi trucks. And so they have their system that they put inside of inside of a truck. And so this self-driving system, it can go in passenger cars, it can operate in freight hauling semi trucks, and there it underpins the Aurora Horizon and Aurora Connect. It's a driver as a service products for truckers, for trucking and for ride hailing. And let me share my screen again because I want you to see this. This is all on the job description. You can go look at this yourself. But this it's Aurora is working with industry leaders across the transportation system, including Toyota, FedEx, Volvo Trucks, Pacar, Uber Freight, US Express, Werner, Covenant, Schneider, and Ryder. And so this is just an example of who their partners are. who their partners are in the industry. Hopefully, you knew this already because I've talked about this company quite a bit. I've actually connected with some of their current employees, and it seems to be a fantastic place to work. They absolutely love the role that they're playing in this shift in the industry, and they have nothing but raving things to say about this particular company. And so, what will you do in this role? So, let me share so you can kind of get an idea of what you would do in this role. So, you would be a safety pilot and co pilot in an autonomous semi truck. And in also other autonomous vehicles. Let me add this so you can kind of take a look at it as well. So, basically, what you would do is safely pilot and co-pilot autonomous semi-trucks and other autonomous vehicles for on-road and closed course testing. Um, of course, you got to remain alert and attentive while monitoring the system, which they call the Aurora Driver. Log real-time feedback regarding their platform and its performance during testing. Escalate operational blockers, demonstrate positive impact, maintain up to date knowledge on how their self driving technology works, understand the software and any operational changes. That's what you would do in that role. Here are the requireds. The requireds is you would need a minimum of 3 years driving trucks commercially. And so let me sit right there for a second, because there are trucking companies that currently hire drivers with 3 months of experience, with 6 months of experience. From an autonomous perspective, these companies are looking for someone that has a good, solid set of experience. 3 years is what they need. They typically like a driver that has had some type of um, instructor training, or has been an instructor, has been a mentor. Those are all good things that look good on your background. Those things look really good in your background. So if you're a driver and you have 6 months experience, you have a year of experience, think about being a mentor, because there's a new driver coming in and he needs somebody to mentor or guide him, or she needs someone to point her in the right direction of things, someone she can call. And so, same with a driver that's got 2 years or 3 years of experience. If you get an opportunity to get in the classroom, or you get an opportunity to train someone, take advantage of that. I often hear drivers when we have openings for training positions, or we have opening for classroom instructors, or we have openings for mentors. Drivers don't typically like those types of positions. I don't personally understand why, and I'm not a driver, but it does pay a little bit extra money, because you'll get paid for all of the miles that your trainee is running as well. Now, there is the safety thing, but you're their trainer. You're their mentor. And then I have a lot of people that say, "Oh, I just don't want nobody else in my truck." But when you're a mentor, when you're a trainer, that that is a leadership role. That is a leadership role. Leadership roles elevates your resume. It sets you apart. Being a leader, a safety person, a classroom instructor, a mentor, all of those things look very, very good on your resume. They look very, very good on your resume. So I encourage you to seek out those types of opportunities. Now, other thing is, of course, you got to have a Class A CDL. Clean, let me highlight this point right here, and I want to make sure you see it. Clean driving record with 0 points, 0 violation points. Clean driving record. Excellent communication skills, both written and verbal. ability to prioritize and make strategic decisions proactively. Ask yourself if that's you. Is that you? Are you a great communicator? Y'all will hear me beat the drum of communication all day long because you have to be a great communicator. You have to be a great decision maker. You have to have good oral and written communication skills in order to thrive in a new environment. If you out here and you don't know how to talk to people, you might as well go find a job somewhere in a warehouse, okay, and just sit there and stay with yourself because your human skills, those human skills, are going to be what sets you apart. Knowing how to communicate. It says right here, let me pull it back up so I can share it again. We're going over the truck operations specialist position with Aurora in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's in their operations department. They're looking for a driver with 3 years, at least 3 years of experience driving trucks commercially. They're looking for a driver that has a clean driving record with 0 points, a clean driving record with zero violation points, excellent communication skills, both written and verbal, ability to prioritize, ability to travel, ability to work nights. You can't come in. I have had so many drivers over the years come in and tell me, oh, I don't work nights, I don't work weekends, I don't work holidays. Well, you need to go get you a 9 to 5 because this trucking is around the clock. Transportation is around the clock. It never stops. Aviation never stops. Railroad never stops. My husband used to work railroad and he would be on what they call the DuPont schedule, and he would work 14 on or 7 off, and it would switch around and he would go days and nights. And you got to be flexible. You have to be flexible. And so that's very, very important. Again, I'm still going over their requirements. You don't see all of these requirements currently as a truck driver that's looking for a trucking job, a traditional trucking job. You don't see all these requirements. You see the DAC report. You see you got to have this certain amount of experience. You see clean driving record. You see, ability to work nights, ability to work, different shifts and stuff like that. Got to be 21 years of age, got to pass a DOT physical, got to meet all the DOT qualifications. You see that, yes. You don't see in the required excellent communication skills, both verbal and written. You don't see ability to prioritize and make strategic decisions. You don't see those things when it comes to the traditional truck driving job. I'm telling you, your job and your role is shifting and you have to be ready for it. And so that's just the requireds. Let's go look at the desires real quick. Now, this is a position that for the most part, you would be home every day. Looks like the hourly wage range is between $28 and $36.50. They do pay overtime. Desired qualifications. So going back to those desired qualifications, you have to, or let me go back because it's not required, it's desired. So they want you to have truck technician experience. That is a plus. Truck technician experience is a plus for this particular position. They want you to have an inquisitive attitude and be interested in problem solvings and solving puzzles. Those are nice to have. They want you to have experience in operations, technology, customer service, or the automotive field. Y'all will hear me beat customer service, human skills, communication skills. You will hear me beat that like a drum. I'm going to beat it in your head until you get it, because these are the skills of the future. You thought you didn't need those in the past, but now you need them. Let me go to the next one. The next skill is experience working in a collaborative environment, being a team player. You got to be a team player in the new future. Okay? You have to be a team player in the new future. Proficient in G Suite, command line interface experience. These again, I'm listing the desired qualifications of a truck operations specialist in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for Aurora Innovation. Okay, again, this is, I'm reading right from their website. Reading right from their website. Now, um, let me just address one thing because I got a comment on TikTok and he said, "Stop the cap." And I appreciate that comment because basically, for those of y'all that don't understand what cap means, and only reason why I know is because my kids have said that word, and so I understand what cap means. Cap means stop the lying. Well, let me tell you something. Here's the difference. This is what the cap is. I'm so glad you said that because that just really gives me that opportunity to take it to another level. Stop the cap and stop the lying about a position that's right here on the screen, a position that's showing on the website. And what that is it's going to be a few different, if it's going to be a few types of drivers out there. We're going to have drivers who making a little bit of money, and we're going to have drivers who eating very, very well. And the drivers that are eating very well are the drivers that listen, the drivers that elevate their skills, the drivers that are willing to learn, the drivers that are willing to change. And you, Cap, sir, you're going to be the one on the low side. Okay? Because the skills and the level of who they're looking for is changing. And you can act as if it's not, but you see the industry changing right now. You see where things are going. Whether you want to believe it or like it or say it or not, the industry is changing. And you can feel as if this is a lie, but I'm here to tell you that if you don't have good communication skills, if you don't know how to communicate, if you don't know how to express yourself in an interview, if you don't know how to share and talk about what you've learned and talk about your experiences, you will continue to eat and be on the bottom, because that is where people like you who think that people are lying, that's where you'll stay. But for those of you that are willing to learn, those of you that are willing to take your skills to another level and not just hold a steering wheel, those of you who are willing to seek out these desirable skills that I'm talking about, like truck technician experience, being able to be a team player, operations experience, technology experience, customer service experience, somebody who is interested in problem solving and solving puzzles, or the automotive field. Those are people that this type of company is looking for. Those are people that this type of company is seeking out. That hourly wage range of $28 to $36.50. Is that your current wage? Is that your current wage of what you're making as a trucker out over the road, out 2 and 3 and 4 weeks at a time? I'm just giving you an example of what's out there, an example of what you can strive for. There's opportunities coming, but the ability is to be able to get ready for it. Okay? The ability is to prepare for it. All right? So that is the position. The last thing that I will share on that position that was a nice to have is interest and aptitude for technology, tools like learning about apps, like gaming, like Adobe Creative Services. These are all skills that are skills of the future, right? These are all skills that are skills of the future. Now, when we come back, I'm going to talk about the learning lane. And in the learning lane, you will I'm going to talk about the application process and what really needs to stand out in your application process. Um, I'll be right back.
I'm Jerri Banks. Our agency focuses on driver recruitment and driver education. We focus on helping drivers and preparing them for the future of trucking and transportation as autonomous vehicles and automation enters the industry. Our goal is to ensure that you are equipped with the skills that you need to be successful in this new way of life. So make sure you connect with me across all of my platforms. Jerri Banks, Autonomous Trucking. I look forward to connecting with you.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you are connected with me across all of my social media platforms. And if you have not downloaded the book, if you have not downloaded the ebook, it is an ebook that talks about who the key players are in the future of trucking. It talks about the skills that you need, skills that I've been talking about, skills that I've been sharing. These are skills that you need in order to excel in this new future. It talks about the routes that some of these autonomous carriers are operating on. There's routes between Dallas and El Paso, Dallas and Atlanta, Dallas and Houston. Houston and Dallas is a big area. Albuquerque, New Mexico, all along the south. The autonomous companies are establishing lanes. They are building digital their footprint, their network across with partners like Kodiak and partners like Flying J and Ryder, and all of these companies are partnering with autonomous vehicle developers. And so that book is your go-to for that type of information. All right, moving right along to our learning lane. Today, I'm going to talk about the application process and some of the key things that you need to know when completing your application. And it doesn't just apply to truckers. Everybody fills out an application at some point. And I'll tell you a little story. When I first started on the driver recruitment side, I didn't realize that recruiters fill out applications for drivers. It's the only industry that I ever uh, saw or knew about where the individual applying for the job did not fill out the application themselves. In most instances, third-party recruiters will fill the application out for you. I've filled out hundreds, thousands of applications in my career for drivers. Now, we don't sign for the driver. The driver actually gets a link and they, review the information that we submitted and they sign for it themselves. And as a driver, there's just a few key points that I want to go over with you when you're doing an online application. Most companies use Driver Pulse. Drivers are accustomed to using Driver Pulse, but you want to ensure, and these are just tips from a recruiter that works with tons of trucking companies that process applications. They have processors, and what I always tell a driver is fill out all the information. Fill out as much information as you can, because if it's not filled out, and you want to go over it, because I know Driver Pulse will auto populate most of the information once you put your name, your date of birth, and your social in. You get a 5 or 6 digit code, and then it will populate most of the information. But you want to ensure that you check that information, that it is still accurate, because if it's inaccurate or it's missing or it has gaps, guess what? Your application is going to the bottom of the pile. And then the other thing that you want to do, once you fill out an application and submit an application to a company, you want to be responsive. If they call you, you want to answer. If they text you, you want to respond, because in most cases, these companies, after 24, maybe 48 hours, they'll reject your application and you have to start over. You have to start the entire process over. So, some key places on the application that are very, very important. Of course, you're sharing your Class A CDL information, any endorsements that you have, you want that company to know about. And then, probably the most important part of that application is your work history. Your work history. And in Driver Pulse, it asks for the company name that you worked for. It asks for their phone number, their address. It asks for the type of truck that you drove. It asks for where you ran. All of those things are very important. If it's not filled out, in most cases, they will move right on to the next person. So if there's ever a time where you submitted an application and they never called you back, that you never heard back from them, because have drivers tell me that all the time. Oh, I did an app and I never heard back. Well, it's because your application was not filled out. It was because it didn't have enough information for them to pre-qualify you, because they're trying to do a pre-qualification and determine if you're worth even calling. Let me back it up and say that again for those of you in the back that didn't hear it and didn't get it and didn't understand it. When you submit your Driver Pulse application, if it has enough information for them to pre-qualify you, then that's when they're going to take that next step to reach out to you by phone, by text, to let you know, hey, okay, here's the next step in the process. Now, if you don't have enough information for them to determine whether or not you meet those minimum qualifications, they won't even call you. They won't even take that next step with you. So it's crucial that you give them as much information as possible so that they can um, take the next step, pre-approve you to even pick up the phone and call you. Most companies in today's market, in today's trucking market, that's why I tell you it's important for you to ensure that you are leveling up, that you are increasing your skills, that you are getting better at something. Because in today's market, they have more applications than they have trucks to fill. They have more applications than they have jobs. Okay. And that is a reality. And so, in a market where you have more applications than positions that you need to fill, guess what? They are going to scrutinize the applications and they are going to look for the best of the best of the best driver. That is it. That is the reality. So if you're getting pushback or you're not getting that position that you wanted, it's because someone was more qualified than you. And that is just what we're seeing on the recruitment side. We're seeing that they are taking, when we actually had a meeting with a company earlier this week, and one of the things that they said was they're putting drivers in 2 to 3 buckets. Those buckets is top tier, top tier, 0 tickets, 0 accidents, no violations in the clearinghouse, meets all the hiring requirements. That's a top tier driver. The level right below that is a driver who has very minimal tickets and accidents, or probably 0 accidents, very minimal tickets, meets the hiring requirements. And then below that is the maybes, and the maybes don't even make the call. If you're on the fence with just like a quick glance at your application, you might not even make a phone call. And that is the reality of what we're seeing in today's trucking market. And so that's why, as recruiters, we train our team, and our team spends quite a bit of time screening during the phone call to make sure that you meet the qualifications and that we're sending our customers quality applications, because there's not a shortage of drivers. You see that everywhere. Oh, there's a shortage of drivers, and there's a shortage, and shortage this, and shortage. There's not a shortage of drivers. There's a shortage of those top tier drivers and those mid-level drivers. There's a shortage of those because it's a lot of drivers. It's a whole lot of drivers that'll drive, right? But there's a shortage of quality top tier drivers that a lot of these companies are looking for. I just actually went through one of the autonomous companies and what their required and desired skill levels are, and that's a whole nother level. That's not even what you're used to hearing. So I say that to say that ensure that you are always being safe out there, because your safety driving record is probably the most important thing. Having a safe driving record, having the experience, the work history. If in our conversation with this company earlier this week, they don't want nobody with a lot of jobs. And that determines whether you are a quality driver or not. You are not quality if you have 6 jobs in the last 2 years. They don't consider you quality. You're not quality if you have more than 2 to 3 jobs with some of these companies. That's just the reality right now. So it is very competitive. It is a very competitive market right now in all of these companies looking for the best of the best of the best driver. And the driver who said stop the cap earlier, I'm sure he not top quality. I'm sure he not top quality. But I hope the information today was helpful to you. We went over a few articles. We talked about application process. I shared a story of my great grandfather and the adaptability, the adapting that he had to do in his time, and that's a whole another ball game. He adapted in his time. We have to adapt in our time. It's just a different the adaptability. It just looks different now than what he had to do. And so, with new automation and new artificial intelligence and new autonomy coming into our transportation industry, it's imperative that we stay ready so we don't have to get ready. And for those of you that are unsure, make sure that you stay connected with me. Make sure you are subscribed because I'm going to always guide you. Yesterday, if you didn't watch the show yesterday, make sure you go back and watch it. If you're in the Houston, Texas area, there's a 1-year program that I talked about that will help you and teach you autonomous vehicle technology. It will teach you how to work on these because somebody has to work on them. Someone's going to have to fix them. Why not you? Why not you? Why not you learn how to work on the cars of the future and repair and diagnose, because that's mostly what it is, the cars of the future. I thank you for being here. If you're new here, let me know in the comments that you're new. This is your first show. This is your first opportunity to hear about the future and what the future is bringing. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you tap in, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you for being here. Goodbye.